And we're looking for a pair of numbers whose product is as small as possible, given that that pair of numbers has a difference of 8. That difference is a result of subtracting, and so to say that there is a difference of 8, we can write down x minus y equals 8. Since we don't know what either one of the numbers are, we need to use two variables. So the product is indicating multiplication, so their product that we're trying to minimize is x times y. Now in order to minimize that, I would like to have that as a function of a single variable. And so I want to go back to my equation over here, x minus y equals 8, and solve for one of the variables. Now it's actually easiest to get x by itself here, but then that would require us to work with y's in our product function, and I think that might end up being a little bit confusing since we're so much more used to working with x's and getting our vertex and things that way. So I'll go ahead and get y by itself, and to do that I'll subtract x from both sides, and since that leaves us with a negative y still, we're just going to have to divide by -1. That just changes the signs, so that's -8 plus x, or x minus 8. So now in my product, which I'll just go ahead and write with a p, I'm going to replace that y with the -8 plus x, or let me go ahead and switch it around and say x minus 8. Now if we distribute that x, we have our product function of x squared minus 8x, so we can see that it is in fact a quadratic function. And because our value of a here is positive, it's positive 1, our parabola would be opening up. That means that it has a lowest point, or a minimum, which is good because that's what it's asking us to find. That minimum is going to occur at the vertex, so essentially we need to find the vertex of this function. The vertex has an x-coordinate of -b over 2a. Since our b is -8, negative b is positive 8, and our a there is 1, so that's 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So our minimum occurs when x is 4. Well, if x is 4, and let's figure out what y is. I can go back here and I have y equals -8 plus x. So when x is 4, y is -8 plus 4, which is -4. So my pair of numbers since there was no distinction between x and y in the problem, it just asks us for a pair of numbers. My pair of numbers is 4 and -4. Now let's verify those two numbers have a difference of 8. If I were to subtract them, I would get 8. They're 8 units apart on the number line. And their product, according to the way that we got these values by finding the vertex of that quadratic function, these two numbers generate the smallest product out of all pairs of numbers whose difference is 8. So this is essentially the first part of what we're being asked to find. Find a pair whose product is as small as possible. Then the second question, what is the minimum product? So to get that, we have a couple options. We can take our x equals 4 and go ahead and plug it back into our quadratic function, essentially finding the y-coordinate of the vertex. But at this point, since we have both of the numbers, their product would be found just by multiplying them. So 4 times -4 is -16. So we should get the same thing if we went back to our function and plugged in a 4. But this way, it saves us a little bit of time.